Welcome to Pink Paranormal's second episode. My alien abduction story. Anyone else experience something similar? The user's name is Much Love Mates. Disclaimer: there is no way I can prove any of this is factual. I have zero evidence, but maybe, just maybe, someone else has experienced something similar. I also don't know how to explain what I saw, nor some things I heard, but I'll try my best. Here's my story. Back in September 2020, I went to bed normally as I usually did. I fell asleep after 10 minutes or so. I woke up at around 3 a.m. and I was lying in bed looking at the ceiling, but my head was somewhat tilted to the right. I could see my nightstand, my lamp, and my clock in my peripheral vision, and my clock said 3 something. I couldn't see further to the right than that. I woke up with a very bizarre, dreadful feeling and felt like I was vibrating from head to toe. I thought to myself, God, I hate sleep paralysis, but here we go. I told myself in my head, wake up, wake up, wake up. But then it dawned on me. I was completely consciously awake, looking at my ceiling in my bed. I was frozen and could not move. My eyes were open, and they were the only thing I could move. Then the vibration feeling got more intense, and I felt like I was buzzing. It felt like when one of your limbs falls asleep, but this was a whole body sensation. I started panicking. This was new to me. I've had sleep paralysis before, but this was different. Then I felt myself lift off my bed. The amount of dread I began to feel in that moment is unexplainable. I had a thought enter my mind that's akin to, you are being taken. I was screaming internally, trying to resist whatever was happening. I continued to rise off my bed, and I felt my body rise above to where I couldn't feel my bed at all. My eyes were getting closer to the ceiling, closer, closer. Then all of a sudden, it went dark. I passed through the ceiling, but now I was looking down at our rooftop. I was rising in the air slowly but steadily. Once I probably got to about 250 feet above my house, the fear completely left me, and I could see straight down to the rooftops. I thought to myself, from this perspective, our neighborhood looks very bizarre. Probably because we never really are that high up in the air to see downward from that vantage point. My body began rotating again as I was continually rising, and now I assume I was probably over 500 feet in the air. As my eyesight came to facing the sky above, I saw a silver, grayish disc which had a black opening in the center of it. I got closer to the craft and closer. Then I entered it and everything went black again. When I came to, I was looking down at the earth from space. I was on the craft, but I was looking through a transparent glass material in which I could see earth and space in front of me, underneath me, and above me. It's as if I was free floating in space, but I was aware of my feet were on the platform of some kind. As I was looking at the earth through this material, 3 beings come up to from behind. I knew there were 3 because they introduced themselves to me telepathically, but didn't show themselves. I know it sounds stupid, but I can't explain this part of this introduction. There were 2 males, 1 female, and they were all around 7 feet tall. If I had to take a guess, I would assume they were Nordics, but that's just conjecture on my part since they only relayed their gender and height. Once again, I don't really know how to explain this. In my mind, one of the males told me something which I can only translate to come and see or come and look. It might be a variation of we want to show you something, but they spoke in my mind with feelings and imagery. If that makes sense, I understood their feelings and my mind was for me to come and look. And in an instance, we rapidly accelerated from Earth as if we experienced warp drive in Star Wars. But no, it didn't look blue and swirly. Earth just became so distant, so fast, that I was blown away. I blacked out, or I should say, I don't know what happened between this part and the next. When I came to again, I was looking through this transparent material once again, but this time I was looking at a totally different planet than Earth. Earth looks blue from afar and has vast oceans. This planet looked to be green all around. While looking down at this planet, the being said once again, "Come and see." And we began to approach the planet very quickly. We passed into the atmosphere and flew down seamlessly, no trouble at all, and zero resistance. And when we came closer to the surface, we were above a large body of water. I could see the sun glistening off the water, and the water looked very vibrantly blue and healthy. And I thought, wow, this water is beautiful. The being said to me in my mind, "This water has not been altered in any way, shape, or form. It is in its most natural and perfect state." I was amazed by how it looked. The craft started moving, and I could see us flying over the water at an incredible speed. Out far in the distance, I could see a landmass appear and getting closer and closer. Once we were close enough, I could see these weird buildings on the edge of the land. The land looked super bizarre. It looked like a deep, foresty jungle, but there wasn't a beach. It just went straight from water to endless, thick, green jungle. There were these crystalline looking buildings near the water that resembled the top half of a top. The architecture looked super strange because usually buildings have squared elements to them. But these looked like they were smooth and seamless, as if it were on one single material with no screws, frames, etc. After flying over this view with the buildings and the land, we approached what I think was a hangar of some sort. We landed and the being said, "We are here. Come and see." Then I was in a futuristic looking city. The design of the city looked like it didn't infringe on nature, as if the building itself was integrated with nature. As we entered the structure, we came into the middle of the structure, and it was as if we were in a gathering hub or center. There were hundreds and hundreds of people there. They looked to be regular humans, all Caucasian, fair complexion. They were all wearing these purple-ish royalty looking robes, and it looked so funny but also so intriguing, as if all the people were royalty, but it looked fashionable. I cannot find a picture of what I saw that even resembles this part. All of the people were walking around the city square and they would pass by each other and exchange pleasantries like, "How are you? Nice to see you." The weird part is they were all talking to each other without opening their mouths. I asked the beings, "How can I hear them?" The beings responded with, "It's their form of what you would call a hive mind, but it's different than what you are thinking." They portrayed to me that they are all connected via a link, but still had their autonomy. It was like a central communication device they all had in which they could talk, understand each other, conversate essentially through telepathy, which is just advanced technology. They explained to me that it's essentially like calling someone on a cell phone, but the device medium is no longer handheld, but in them. They didn't explain anything further. I also saw persons holding glass pads that were just see through clear glass. I have no idea what they were. I would assume it's like a version of their iPad, but I didn't see any lights or anything else on them. In the central portion of the city, I saw that these people kept approaching this floating glass box. These floating glass boxes emitted a light beam from one box to another. They were all separated by maybe 25 feet or so. They would approach the box, open the front portion of it, and stick their hand into the light. The beings said this is their version of what the internet is to you. They transmit data and information via light. I know that part sounds ridiculous, and I don't know how they download info from light. That's just what the beings said. As I continued to observe the people walking around, going to and fro, the being said these people have achieved global peace. There are no wars, no illness. Everyone understands each other and they have perfected society. They do not infringe on nature, but work with nature. They are more advanced on Earth, but not by much. While the being was telling me this, I got a flash of understanding or an image in my mind of Earth being behind due to the reasons stated above. It felt like these beings were wanting to show me that there is advanced civilization out there that figured it out and progresses beyond self destruction. They showed me also that everyone works together to a degree and everyone plays a part in society with the main goal of progression. A good analogy is this: it is as if Earth right now is an old, rusty, broken down Honda Civic with torn up seats, and this planet and this civilization is a brand new all electric Lamborghini. Terrible analogy, I know. I saw men and women working together in what I assume is just a futuristic looking platform. There was a handpad thing that used light beams to control something in the city. Once again, I don't have the vocabulary to describe what I was seeing. Everything was so melded together. Everything worked by light or with light. They worked with light like a potter works with clay. I don't even know how to explain what I saw. I tried my best. The beings then took me outside to where I could see the mountainous jungle surrounding the building. And there was a large mountain to the north that had a machine that was rhythmically tapping the mountain. I have no idea what this was for or what it was doing. I got the feeling it was vibrating the earth because when it hit the ground, I could feel a pulse and the earth move. It was sending out vibrations. But I didn't hear anything more about this. The machine looked like a boxing glove machine from an arcade mixed with a giant excavator, but all crystalline in appearance. The beings then told me it's time to go back. And when we went back to the disk and left the island, then went back into the atmosphere, then into space. Once again, I saw this planet becoming smaller and smaller as we zoomed away. In a flash, I could see we were approaching Earth again. And when we descended into Earth's atmosphere, the beings once again said, "Come and see." We were now above the Big Ben in London at nighttime. We must have been about 1 to 2,000 feet above it. There was scaffolding all around Big Ben, like it was under construction. As I was looking at Big Ben through the glass, the beings started talking to each other, and this time I could hear it perfectly. One of the male beings was laughing and said to the other two, "It's always funny to me that we are right here, this close, and the people down there have no idea we are here." After that was said, they said, "It's time for you to go back." It felt like teleportation how fast we traveled back to my home. It was almost instant, and I could see my rooftop below. They didn't see they didn't say goodbye or anything, and I felt myself leave the craft almost the exact same way I entered. The deep vibration feeling, the physical locking, etc. I descended from the craft while looking up at it, and I saw myself exit the bottom. And I felt myself getting closer and closer to my roof. I passed through the roof and saw myself enter my room, and as soon as I hit my bed, I panicked and jumped out of bed like you see in horror movies. The time was then 3:40 and I paced around my room asking myself what in the actual heck just happened. It didn't feel like a dream at all. It was way too vivid and clear. And I was conscious through this experience. The memory plays out more vividly than actual dreams I've had. Well, that's my experience though. Anyone else experience anything similar? Thank you for watching.